Welcome back, I guess, to Let Us Review Cinema. We're missing a member. We're missing John because he has not seen the two things we are reviewing. First up, Wonder Man, Marvel's newest show. And then
Wait, hold on. Wait,
ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Are we going to do two different things, or are we doing a separate segment of a recording just for me and you?
Because
I thought we were going to do two separate bits.
I'm going to edit this at the very end of the Iron Man 2 edit.
Okay.
So when John leaves the call, like what just happened, it's just going to cut to this right now. It's not going to be two different videos.
Okay. But on YouTube it will be.
No?
No? I think it should be two different videos for YouTube, though. Like, what the Pennywise looking...
All right, whatever, man.
We got going on.
Whatever.
Well, here's what I'm thinking.
It's cool.
We have I'm not trying to put more work on you, but I will put more work on you because I know you can handle it. If we do just 3 videos, we have it cutting to Wonder Man as part of the discussion for the episode, but we also have it as a separate episode, and we have Send Help as a different episode.
Oh, I see.
If you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Not just like 2 separate videos, but 3 videos in total.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So
yeah,
one with all of it, and then one just Wonder Man, one just Send Help.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. What did you think I was talking about?
The pod episode, like the big one, isn't even going to include this, but I get what you mean now.
Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, cool. I'm glad your one brain cell could get that through your head.
Yeah, whatever. Welcome back again to Let Us Review Cinema. Today we are missing a member. Our dearly beloved Jonathan Patrick Nepper.
He didn't die, man. He's not dead.
He's not dead. I thought I should set that straight. We're reviewing something without him because he has not seen it. We are reviewing Wonder Man. It is Marvel's newest TV show. Simon Williams, Trevor Slattery. The gang's back together, guys. I think Whitaker wants to start.
You mean the gang? They were never apart.
Yeah,
so
they
when
were
you
never
mean the
together.
gang's back
I just meant like Trevor's back. Trevor Slattery's back.
Is that you only relate to his character because his name is also Trevor?
Same name, yeah.
Same name? Oh, that's fair. I mean, I'm sure if they had a character named Whitaker, I would also relate to that character a lot too.
Facts,
but
yeah.
there's not a character name where the first name has been Whitaker, always last name. But regardless, writers put people's names at first for Whitaker, not last. But
take notes.
Let's get into Wonder Man. What a bombshell of a show, dude. Like, out of left field, everyone was like, this is going to be awful. Like, this does not look good. Because for me, watching the original trailers, whenever it was first coming out, it gave a lot of She-Hulk vibes. I don't know if you caught that. But a lot of the same cinematics as She-Hulk, a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what made me nervous at first. But now, watching the show, watching all the things about how beautiful, and actually how it followed the whole process of how movies should be made. Like, this was a cinephile's wet dream. I'm not gonna lie. This was everybody who ever looks into film, who has a degree in film, who has no job because of their film degree. Sorry, a little too personal. I'm sorry, Trevor. I'm sorry.
Can't believe you.
Well, you don't have to. You can believe the facts. It's just a great show. It's just a wonderful show altogether. What a great, a great masterpiece of something that's so beautifully crafted and so wonderfully made for the people who actually understand how movies are made, all that kind of stuff. Even for the people who are wanting to be up and coming actors. Not like myself. I don't want to be an actor, but I did want to be one growing up. But overall, great show, great quality show that was wonderful. That was absolutely a blast to watch. And might we also mention the fact, how freaking cool was that Josh Gad episode? Like, completely unnecessary, but worked. Just worked. It just and also the fact, Harper, my brother, he was also talking to me about, like, dude, why is this just in black and white? I'm like, because it's a flashback. And if you've never ever seen a movie with, like, black and white flashbacks, like, it's kind of stupid. Like, why don't they just bring the color? Because I'm like, that brings the entire flashback part of it out of the story. So, that entire episode, Episode was wonderful. Josh Gad, awesome performance. He should get an award for the entire part because he was just playing himself. So that was absolutely great. But
Dude, I loved when
that's
he
my
was
thoughts.
in the club and he's just singing the Frozen song in
Exactly.
summer.
Bees will buzz. Kids will blow dandelion. It's just like just so.
He's like, "We're melting, melting."
We're melting biatches. just the entire time, and it's just so funny. But I like how they go into the character, the doorman psychology of him being a hero and an actor. That was also another thing I really liked, where they dug into that mental process, because doorman's not really a really well known character because of the fact that he's part of a really bad version of the Thunderbolts. Like they have a version of
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic, and that we're called Mr. like Flatman or something like that. It's not really supposed to be someone that's supposed to be taken seriously, but overall they had a great usage of characters that are not known, that are mentioned in a TV show, that are just like good referencing to
Yeah.
the original comics, all that kind of stuff. So I loved it. That's my thoughts. I'm gonna let Trevor speak because I'm sure
Dude.
he's got a lot to say about it too.
Yeah, Dorman's his origin was kind of sad.
It was.
I didn't expect to get emotional during that, but anyways, this show was great. It's definitely it. I was talking to Whitaker about this a while ago. I'd say a while ago. It was like last night. It reminded me of a lot about Thunderbolts, where as in it's a Marvel project with like unknown characters or not widely popular characters that deal with like real life like struggles, real life topics. Like Thunderbolts dealt with depression, not feeling like you're good enough, and this one felt like it dealt a lot with like insecurities, and especially like, you know, for people in the film industry, but also just in your everyday life, because there's literally a scene which might be like probably the best scene in the movie. I say movie, it's a TV show. Anyways, I don't want to spoil it, but
We'll get into spoilers in a bit,
yeah,
but
it was pretty peak.
I will say, watching this, and Daniel Destin Cretton, is that how you say his name? Daniel Destin Cretton, or is it
Destin Daniel Cretton.
Destin Daniel Cretton? My bad. I still had the right names, just not in the right order. Seeing
You're still
this
wrong.
and what
Yeah.
it could be in a TV show makes me super excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Mhm.
I feel like recently that Marvel has been cooking with this idea of, hey, since these really good directors are making really good movies, let's put them in let's make them do TV shows so that we can show their work beyond just movies. And so I think it just a wonderful marketing tool for them, showing their work to actually be a good product of what they are making. Also, I loved how they just kind of did it very bare bones. Like they didn't have to try to do anything very extravagant for camera angles or anything like that. But that scene where he's screaming out of agony after he finds out the betrayal, but we
Yeah,
won't get into all
that
to
was the
that.
scene I was talking about. Yeah.
That is the greatest scene out of the entire thing. Like that whole shot is so great because it's just if you know cinematography, you know how difficult it is to get that shot because of the fact that you have a camera that's strapped to somebody's body, and it's a process of trying to make sure it's actually still, but it's also moving along, all that kind of stuff. Just
Mhm.
great. Absolutely loved it. For anybody who's in Hollywood or anything like that, I'm sure that's a lot of life that they can relate to, and something for people who actually appreciate movies on a deeper level like we do. I just loved it. I just loved how it was an actual love letter to the fans of cinematography and movies and as a whole. So I think it was great. Why are you putting the
I
shades
don't
on,
know.
man?
I don't know.
Like
Go on.
that's so unnecessary. Was there anything about the show, Trevor, that you did not like about the show? I don't really have much, but I had like one little grim and gripe.
Um, I feel like so if you're going into the show expecting like an action-packed show, you'll be disappointed. There's one action scene and then another one that can kind of be considered something to do with action, not really. So there's not a whole lot of that in there, which yeah, just don't go into that with that expectation. And I don't know, I feel like even that one action scene, it wasn't like impressive in a way, if that makes sense. Like it was an impressive fight scene considering this is the guy that's doing Brand New Day and the guy that did Shang Chi. That that doesn't like make me feel worse about Brand New Day, but that's just something that I was hoping for, was a little bit more action. But this is really a self-contained story about struggling to be an actor, struggling to make it in Hollywood, and then you have the experienced theatrical guy that, tries to help him along the way. But
Yeah.
as far as, I really can't think of one specific thing besides the lack of action that I would consider a negative. There's probably way too many positives I have, but not a whole lot of negatives. One positive I did want to bring up though was I like how his mom and his older brother, they both represented kind of like the angel on your shoulder and the devil on your shoulder. Like the mom is like what a mom does, is like they're like the super supportive one, like, hey, like, you're giving it your all, just keep chasing your dreams, you'll get there one day. And then the brother is like, dude, you've been like going after this, you've been exhausting yourself, you've been seeing failure after failure, I think like you got to learn when to quit. And I didn't think, especially with like the past Marvel shows, as much as I love Ironheart, the side characters in that show do suck nuts. Like they are terrible. But one thing I did appreciate about this show is that I actually cared for all the side characters. Even Von Kovac, I freaking loved him, bro.
Yeah. Do you think that, before I get my negatives, do you think that there will be a season 2 of the show?
I hope so. And I would be totally fine, especially with the now, I guess, having seen that there's not a whole lot of action, I would also be fine if a season 2 didn't have any action, if it was his own self-contained story again. I do feel like it's very possible to get a season 2. I don't think it's going to happen before Secret Wars, though. It's definitely something that's post-Secret Wars in the Mutant Saga or whatever.
I do agree. My negative does have to kind of go with the show itself and the kind of the purpose of the show. I'm really tired of these standalone stories that are not tying into anything. Like, sure, you have some reference of Shang Chi with Trevor Slattery coming back to America, and the agent who was also in the Marvels, or no, was it Captain Marvel or just the Marvels? I can't remember. He was also in one other project,
No,
which was She-Hulk.
He was in No Way Home and then Miss Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. That's my only grim and gripe I have about this, is that it's very much tying characters to the bigger part of the series, but not really having much direction to go to where it builds up. That's the only grim and gripe I have about this. Because sure, it was great that we got to see the Maximum Prism again, that we saw in She-Hulk. That was great. I loved seeing that, and I loved the whole last scene that they have where, he's flying out of the building, all that kind of stuff. I love that. The only thing I find it very hard to see a reason like why they're getting involved with this if they have no major villain. Like, it's like She-Hulk. That's the vibe I got. I knew there was not really going to be a major villain in this part, because that's just like, that's what I think we've grown so accustomed to nowadays with villain movies. Like, there's a hero and there's a villain, and they're always going to be at odds. That's another thing that I was like, okay, I'm kind of happy that there's not a main villain to try to fight with, like Tatiana, or not Titania. Is that what her name is, Titania, in She-Hulk? It's like there was something there, but it's like it was very, very short-lived, not really that big of a cost. And I'm glad they kind of steered away from that, because they could have done so much with having like Wonder Man having a major villain or whatever. But I did like how they focus on it just being Simon Williams' story, not his upcoming to being the Wonder Man, the superhero Wonder Man, not action star of Wonder Man. Which, granted, I think it's not one of the most popular stories in the world with Wonder Man, because I don't know anybody who's a favorite of Simon Williams as Wonder Man. Yeah. But I do know that in the comics they have some correlation with Tony Stark and him being a failed experiment. Another thing that I'm now thinking about, we never found out how he got his powers.
No.
Not at all, which kind of pissed me off a little bit, because it's like, if this is an origin story, we should find out how he got his powers and all that kind of stuff. Like, they had a mention of like, yeah, he doesn't have any burns from the kitchen. How did that happen? Is it genetic? Is it artificial? Is it the same thing with Roxxon? Which the Roxxon nod. Holy crap. Dude, the Roxxon nod got me so hyped up, because I was thinking, okay, this could go one of two ways. That this is going to be a story about Simon Williams investigating Roxxon, and then you have AIM being reintroduced because AIM
Uh-huh.
was like a slight thing that was like, oh yeah, we're here for like 30 seconds and then we don't have to worry about us because AIM is not having to do anything with anything nefarious or anything like that.
Mhm.
So I thought it was gonna go that way. It did not, which I was really disappointed that it didn't because of the fact that we have this mysterious goo that unlocked Doorman's powers, all that kind of stuff. They could have done a lot more with that. That's just another grim and gripe I had about it because of the fact that it was just missing some form of a. I don't want to say an antagonist because we had the antagonist of Trevor Slattery, but we didn't have an antagonist of Simon Williams other than himself. To be kind of honest, he didn't have
Yeah.
anybody to fight against except himself. So I think overall it was a great show. I loved it. I loved how very minimalist they did. It didn't have to be this over extravagant show that everybody was gonna be like, dude, you remember this thing? It's like it's just something that you can sit there and appreciate. It's something that's a Marvel project, which I don't know if did they just now introduce like this whole Marvel Spotlight series, or is it just like
I think
something that they're
it
just
is. Yeah, it's more of a recent thing. I think it started after Deadpool and Wolverine. So whatever shows came out after that, I think they're under the spotlight because I think Ironheart had that spotlight banner as well.
I don't know if it did, but I do like the fact that this is being more grounded in what a real life of a superhero slash mutant could been, not something so extravagant as X-Men, right? That's the
That's
thing
what
I
I'm
was like,
thinking. Yeah, that's
it's like, okay, what's going on here? Because we don't have a single mention of the Avengers or anything of that's going on in the current world at all.
yeah,
Not with Fantastic Four, which I was glad it was steering away from that, but it's kind of now at like the point of like, well, how is he going to get involved in Doomsday if he's now being confirmed for it? So it's like,
yeah.
where's the plot? Where's
You
the plot being thickened?
yeah you did bring up a good point, but here's my theory about how Wonder Man got his powers. I do think when you brought it up with Roxxon being somehow tied into that, I think that is a possibility, especially because literally a whole entire episode was designated by a guy who got powers from Roxxon. But
Hmm.
I'm thinking since he had his powers so young, I'm thinking they're just gonna make him a mutant.
I hope so. I hope so because
Yeah.
I think this is not going to be part of the thing where like the main characters are being recasted or anything like this is something they're going to
Yeah.
save for future projects. So I'm really glad that they are. Um, but at the same time, knowing that this is not going to be a project that's going to be recasted, but it's going to have to be reshaped in some form to fit this recasting of Iron Man, recasting of Steve Rogers,
Right.
that makes me a little nervous because that's I'm like, okay, if that's true, are we going to keep this focus on people who remember their old life after Secret Wars? Because Secret Wars is basically the reset button on everything. So that's the part where I'm like, okay, if that's the case, we know Iron Man's dying. We know Captain America's dying. We know a lot of the main characters are going to die, except for probably Spider-Man, Black Panther, Wonder Man. I hope
Doctor
they
Strange.
keep. I don't know,
Do you think he's been
man.
around
Doctor
too
Strange.
long at this point?
I don't know where they could go with Benedict Cumberbatch after this. I'm not gonna lie. There's not really much of a prospect that I could see, other than the fact that they give him a multiversal variant that kills our version of Doctor Strange to be the better one because he opened the what's it called, the evil book,
Dark Hold.
the Darkhold. That's what I'm thinking. Because because we don't even know what other projects are going to be released between Doomsday and Secret Wars because there's so much time still in between it. Which I hope it's not a Doctor Strange project. I really don't. I think it needs to stay where it's at, where he's going on his own adventure and not being involved in anything, not even Doom,
Yeah.
not at
I
all.
don't even want anything in between those two movies because I want it to be like Infinity War and Endgame, where we're literally mourning for a year before getting the resolution and not getting anything in
I
between. Well, but we
I
would get
agree,
two
but
movies, but
I would say the only project I'd be looking forward to if it actually was announced or anything like that. I know we're getting a Young Avengers type situation somehow before Doomsday.
jeez, I hope
What I would
not.
love, what I would love, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. This is probably gonna be a very hot take and controversial. What I would love is all the Young Avengers that we have right now. We have from I don't want to say Kate Bishop because Kate Bishop is a very difficult
She
situation right now with Haley
she was
Steinfeld.
in college, I think, during the events of Hawkeye. So at this
Right,
point,
but
she's
here's what
much
I'm
older.
I get that, yes, but here's what I'm saying is that it's be very difficult to get Haley Steinfeld to film that character because she's pregnant right now. So it's like very hard to get that without having to do a lot of other work. So Speed and Wiccan, I definitely want to see them in a project together where they're older.
Mm-hmm.
Not this whole thing like House of M. If they did a TV show with them being that, I would love that. That would be fine. I'd be fine with that. I saw a post where it was AI generated of Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson and Ian McKellen all sitting in a room. I loved it.
Cool.
Even though it was all like AI generated, but a Young Avengers project to where what's her name in Thunderbolts, the president of the DOC,
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
yeah, DeFontaine, where she creates a sub team called the Young Avengers with all these groupings of heroes that have been captured by the DOC, and she's giving them another chance, just like she tried to give the Thunderbolts. You see where I'm cooking with this?
Are you saying the DLC?
The DOC, the damage of DODC,
damage of DLC the whole time. I was like, what?
No, the Department of Damage Control.
Yeah,
that the DODC. Tying that into the Wonder Man series and having that there as a foundation of a place of where, okay, the Thunderbolts have gone rogue and now the new Avengers need to take them down type situation. Like a Thunderbolts 2, practically, but in a TV show form. That I wouldn't be too mad with, and having Simon Williams being a mediator because of the DODC. So, all in all, I don't know where the Marvel Universe is going to go after this. I don't know if they're going to do another project. Apparently, there was a rumor going around that Doomsday is supposed to be a part 1 and part 2. I really hope not. It would be great if they did, but I really hope not because of the fact that that'd be too long of a wait of inner time position, and I feel like they'd be copying the Michael Jackson movie that's coming out.
I hope that Secret Wars is a part 1 and part 2, but not Doomsday.
Well, the thing is that I think they're going to be extending the Marvel universe that we have. I don't want to say the 616 because it's not the 616. Even Aman Vellali and Chochi Gomez knows it's not the 616, right? So, but I think they're extending projects beyond 2027 to keep this universe alive. But they're going to be, I don't know how they're going to do it. It doesn't really make much sense, but at the same time, we're not the ones making all this universe stay alive somehow.
Right.
But did you see that list of things that Kevin Feige confirmed before Avengers Doomsday? Like, did you see the point where it said Doom was thought about before Kang?
Oh,
I don't believe it.
Before Kang? No,
I don't.
There's no way that's true. But
There's no way.
I heard from the Escape podcast that I think Joe or Anthony Russo was on an interview, and they said that RDJ signed up to be Doom before they signed up to direct.
I don't know. That's something
so he really wanted to be Doom.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'd have to see the paperwork for that to believe it. So, I mean, I don't know.
I'll bring the receipts next time.
Dude, you're like glitching out majorly. Dude, you're like so laggy. It's unbelievable.
As long as we're good on my end, because I'm the one recording, then we're good.
All right, well, you're like breaking up massively. But yeah, that's what I think about Wonder Man. Great show, peak show. What a great underdog show. It makes me super excited for Brand New Day. I hope they don't mess it up because of having a hype show and then having a really crappy movie.
Yeah.
But overall, great show. I'm going to rate this a 10 out of 10 show. This is better than anything I've ever seen. It defied expectations. It didn't give us an expectation in the first place, which I really, really loved. But it defied expectations. It went above and beyond. Great directing. Great cinematography. Using all the things that knew how to do with making movies great again and making TV shows great again. So, Destin Daniel Cretton, thank you so much for creating this wonderful masterpiece. I pray to God that this is going to be the same quality that we're going to get for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But that's my piece. That's my piece.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.5, only because of the lack of action. There's literally like that one action scene, and I guess we can go ahead and mention that one spoiler we were talking about. I think it's at the end of episode 7 when he just completely obliterates that soundstage. Bro. Peak. Literally all of his built up emotions up until that point just all coming out at once. And bro, I just love, like you were talking about earlier, with like the complexity of getting that shot made. I just love how they did not cut away at all until like the very end, and you can just see like the rage in his face. You can see stuff floating up behind him and just instantly turning to dust. Like, bro, like we were talking about, I want to know how he got his powers. I want to know what exactly the extent of his powers are. And absolute cinema. Absolute cinema.
Absolute
All I can
peak.
say. All I can say.
Peak show. Well, that's all for today on Wonder Man. We're going to be doing Send Help here in a little bit. So if you want to go find out what we think about Send Help, make sure to give a follow, like, subscribe, and share to everybody on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. We are really getting into these episodes. We are really trying to make this a continuous thing every week.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I got to say, it's crazy that we're at this point where we're at a podcast. I'm not going to lie. Like, a podcast.
It's cool telling people, like you said, that we have a podcast.
It's so crazy. I told my coworker today, I was like, dude, yeah, like we've done this channel for over a year. I've done this channel I'm not in charge of it. I'm just I've been a part of it for a little over a year, and we're doing a podcast. He's like, looking at me like, dude, why do you not sound more excited than you actually are saying and like describing these things? I'm like, because it's just like casual. We're just been building up. I was like, dude, you have a freaking podcast on Spotify. What the heck?
So it's definitely something to be proud of.
It is something very much to be proud of, and I'm so glad we are so blessed to be still here after all this time, effort, the tears, the anxiety, the laughter, the happy moments, all the things. We love y'all so much. Y'all are the ones that are giving us the motivation to do this every single day, and we also just do it for the love of the game because we just appreciate what people are putting out in art form for us to view with our eyeballs. So thank you all so much for watching. We hope to see you again. Like, subscribe, comment on what movie we should review next, and we will see y'all next time.